Seems like back in the day, you could get away with pretty much anything, unfortunately. My name is AJ Spatola with Most Amazing, and these are the top 10 unsettling, unsolved mysteries from American states that we may never solve. At number 10 is the Axeman of New Orleans. In the annals of American crime, one chilling tale that sends shivers down your spine is the Axeman of New Orleans. This elusive and malevolent figure terrorized the city during a horrifying spree that left a trail of gruesome unaliving. The Axeman's modus of operandi was brutal as it was perplexing, breaking into homes, wielding an axe or razor, and butchering his victims. What's truly unsettling is that these unalivings don't appear to have any clear motive. The victims were predominantly Italian immigrants or Italian Americans, sparking theories of ethnic hatred. But the mystery deepens when some suggest that the Axeman may have just been a sadistic fiend who specifically targeted women. And here's where it gets truly bizarre. There's even a theory that he eliminated to promote jazz music. What? A letter attributed to the Axeman claimed that he'd spare anyone with a jazz band playing in their home on a specific night. Are you serious? And New Orleans heeded that call. Jazz echoed throughout the city, and that night no one fell victim to the Axeman's gruesome acts. What? To this day, the identity of the Axeman remains unsolved. At number 9 is the Cleveland Torso Unaliver. Active between 1935 and 1938, this unidentified serial killer left a trail of grisly unalivings in their wake. Officially, they claimed about a dozen victims, but there could be way more. What makes this case even more unsettling is the gruesome way the Unaliver operated. They beheaded and often dismembered their victims, and sometimes even severed torsos and appendages. Most of the male victims were castrated. The cause of the unaliving in many cases was the horrific dismembering itself, meaning that the people were alive as it was happening. Oh lord. The victims were often drifters, folks who lived on the fringes of society during the Great Depression. Their identities were hard to establish, which was a common theme for this enigma. Forensic science in the era was far from what it is today, making it even more challenging to identify the victims, especially since the heads were often missing. But here's the twist. The Cleveland Torso Unaliver had the audacity to taunt law enforcement. They sent postcards and even placed remains where the authorities couldn't miss them, right in front of Elliot Ness's office. Ness, who was famous for taking on Al Capone and led the Untouchables, couldn't crack this case. To this day, the identity of the Cleveland Torso Unaliver remains a haunting mystery. If you're enjoying this video so far, you can support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to Most Amazing, and ringing that notification bell. At number 8 is the Zodiac Unaliver. This unidentified serial unaliver operated in the late 1960s, plunging Northern California into a state of fear and panic. What sets this case apart is its brazen nature as the unaliver's penchant for taunting the media and authorities. He struck in various locations, targeting young couples and even a lone cab driver. But here's the truly unsettling part. The Zodiac claimed to have unalived over 37 people, leaving a trail of cryptic letters, some containing still unsolved ciphers. Only one of these ciphers was cracked in 2020. It's a real-life puzzle that the world is desperately trying to solve. Though Arthur Lee Allen, a former teacher and convicted offender, was named as a suspect, the case remains unsolved. The Zodiac's eerie ability to vanish into obscurity has made it an eerie mystery, with investigations still open to this day. Will we ever unmask the infamous Zodiac? Only time will tell. At number 7 is Bible John, who operated in Glasgow back in 1968 and 69. But what's so baffling about this case, you ask? Well, it's the fact that this guy managed to off 3 people without ever getting caught. All of his victims were brunettes between the ages of 25 and 32. They all crossed paths with their sinister dance partner at the Barlowland Ballroom, a place for fun and music that turned into a nightmarish crime scheme. But it didn't stop there, folks. This guy was called Bible John because he had a knack for quoting scripture and condemning adultery, especially when he was with his last victim. The police have never been able to pin down his identity, despite one of the most extensive manhunts in history. And what's even more mind-boggling is that some folks even thought Peter Taubin, another convicted serial unaliver, might be Bible John, but nope, he got eliminated as a suspect. And the mystery lingers on. At number 6 is the Freeway Phantom. The Freeway Phantom, a mysterious and deeply unsettling case, has baffled investigators for decades, which takes us on a chilling journey through the mysteries of American crime. This cold-blooded villain, harboring a seething rage against society, committed a series of heinous crimes that terrorized the Washington area. His motive is obscured in a shroud of darkness, which could be rooted in untreated psychological turmoil, perhaps depression, and definitely anger towards women. The Phantom's elusive persona, concealed behind a mask and a vehicle, suggests a methodical approach to his sinister deeds. His knowledge of the region's local stories hints at a connection to the area. The abduction and unaliving of his victims reveal a psychopathic disposition with deep-seated misogyny. The brutality of these crimes, coupled with a military-like precision, has led some to speculate about this person being a Vietnam veteran. At number 5 is the West Mesa Unalivings. 11 women, their remains discovered in 2009, buried beneath a dusty New Mexico desert. It's one of those American mysteries that might never be completely unraveled. Originally, people thought it was the work of a serial unaliver, but there's a twist here. Actually, a possible connection to a trafficking ring. An anonymous tip pointed fingers at a suspect from Central America, but it doesn't stop there. Cops even suspected a trafficking ring operating through Texas, preying on people of the night during big events across the Southwest. This complex web of darkness stretches across various states, leaving us with more questions than answers. At number 4 is the Gilio Beach serial unalivings, a spine-tingling mystery that spans nearly 2 decades, casting a shadow over Long Island, New York. Between 1996 and 2011, the remains of 11 people were discovered, with the majority being workers of the night who had advertised their services on Craigslist. The grim saga began with the disappearance of Shannon Gilbert, leading to an intensive police search in the vicinity of Ocean Park near Gilio Oak Beach. In December 2010, the remains of the Gilio 4 were unearthed within a quarter mile of each other, only to be followed by the discovery of 6 more sets of remains in March and April of 2011. Now, the cause of the unaliving itself remains disputed, with police proposing accidental drowning, while an independent autopsy suggested possible strangulation. In a startling twist, the arrest of Rex Howerman in July of 2023 brought some closure to the case, as he was charged in connection with the unalivings of 3 of the Gilio 4 victims, and emerged as the prime suspect in the 4th victim's demise. Yet, the lingering mystery remains. Who else might be involved, and what other horrors lie concealed in the shadows of Gilio Beach? And number 3 is the Okland County Unaliver. Between 76 and 77, 4 young people disappeared without a trace. Their bodies were later discovered, each placed in plain sight along roadways in Okland County. This gruesome puzzle remains one of America's most unsettling unsolved mysteries. Forensic advancements have shed light on potential suspects, but they've only deepened the enigma. DNA testing indirectly implicated 2 individuals, but the main perpetrator's identity remains hidden. One suspect passed away, and the other is serving a life sentence for unrelated crimes. Even with a DNA profile of the unaliver, no match has emerged. At number 2 is the Doodler. Alright, so let's dive into one of the most unsettling unsolved mysteries in American history. Straight out of California, the Doodler. This unsettling serial unaliver terrorized San Francisco between 74 and 75, committing 6 to 16 unalivings and 3 assaults. What makes this case more chilling is how the Doodler earned his name. See, before brutally impaling his victims, he would sketch them. The victims were all men, and the suspect targeted them after meeting at gay nightclubs, bars, and restaurants. The disturbing patterns of the victims being stabbed in similar locations adds another layer to the mystery. Despite police efforts, the Doodler was never caught. At number 1 is Charlie Chop-Off. Now, if you think serial unalivings are the stuff of movies and TV shows, think again. Charlie Chop-Off is an unidentified serial unaliver who terrorized the streets of Manhattan from 72 to 73. What makes this case even more unsettling was the gruesome nature of the crimes. See, Chop-Off's signature move was you could probably guess or Google it. I wouldn't recommend it. Imagine the fear that gripped the city during those days. Despite a suspect, Erno Sato, confessing to one of the unalivings, he was deemed unfit for trial and sent back to a mental institution, leaving the case open and the mystery unsolved. The question remains, who was Charlie Chop-Off? And will we ever uncover the truth behind these horrific crimes? As always, if there's an unsolved American mystery that you think I've missed, feel free to let me know down in the comments. This has been AJ Spatola with Most Amazing Top 10, and I'll catch you all in another video.